In this video, we'll run through the top 5 challenges companies face when adopting a zero trust security model to protect their OT network. Zero trust, for those who don't know, is a mindset shift around how to better protect vulnerable networks. It begins with the idea that all devices may be compromised or pose a threat and therefore can't be trusted. Now, this is quite different from the broadly adopted approach that assumes devices requesting access were innocent until proven guilty. The new starting point is trusted, but only when verified. So we know that IT networks are rapidly adopting this principle. But what about OT networks? Yeah, you can imagine that OT is not quite as simple. Questions, questions, questions. As interest in zero trust security grows, it wouldn't be a surprise to hear someone ask, how can we apply zero trust across our network by next Friday? Yeah, it's not quite like that, because before you can even start evaluating your network for zero trust security, you'll need to answer some key questions. Questions like, what are our policies? How do we enforce policies? Then you have to ask, what's legitimate traffic? You can't block everything that you don't yet trust if your organization is relying on it. And in a similar vein, what can you trust? How much trust should you allow in a zero trust environment? So take things slow, because adopting a zero trust framework isn't something left to the CIO or head of cybersecurity alone. It's existential, habit-forming stuff that needs to apply to the whole organization. So here's our top 5 challenges to consider. This is going to take time. This is a classic tortoise and hare type of thing. The quicker we rush into zero trust, the worse off we'll be. Slow and steady wins the race here. Anything that takes time can be challenging, but trust us, it's worth it. If we walked into your organization tomorrow and said, right, that's it, nothing is trusted anymore, chances are your whole business could come to a standstill. So ask yourself this, what is the most critical area of your network that should be secured first in a zero trust model? What is the endpoint you'd like to get to? 6 months? 1 year? 2 years down the line? What is needed and from who before you alter the way devices on the network communicate? The security of your network is everyone's responsibility. Asset owners and every member of the organization needs to understand and appreciate why zero trust is necessary. And that's a challenge in itself. Get everyone on board. Going zero trust is going to take some serious cooperation between stakeholders across your organization. First, you need to explain why it's essential to adopt a zero trust security model. Then, you need to consider the cultural shifts that will be required within the organization and beyond. For example, there will be different processes around onboarding third parties, using certain devices, and integrating new networks within the existing infrastructure. And of course, you need to make sure that everyone follows zero trust best practices going forward. Here at Nozomi Networks, we guide our customers through this process, from developing their zero trust roadmap to achieving their long-term cybersecurity goals. Just before I get to the third key challenge, I'd like to draw your attention to our in-house cybersecurity experts podcast on zero trust. You can listen in on our podcast channel, and don't forget to subscribe to automatically get alerts about new videos and podcasts. Okay, challenge number 3. Lack of visibility. That's right, gaining visibility into what's already on your network isn't simple either. A lack of visibility is often a big stumbling block because without an accurate, up-to-date inventory list, you can't define your security policies. So play the long game and make sure you've taken every single device, system, and software into consideration. You need to know where everything is and how they're communicating to determine whether each one possesses a risk or not. Armed with full visibility and an accurate asset inventory, you can begin to map out your security policies. But what are your policies? It's pretty straightforward to adopt a zero trust model for IT or cloud environments by adding a virtual firewall, for example. But OT and IoT environments don't really work like that. If only it were that simple, right? Plus, micro-segmentation can be quite tricky to say the least. However, once you've got your asset inventory in hand, plus sound knowledge of what needs to work together or not, you can lay down your rules for what's acceptable. Quick tip: When checking that your inventory is complete, check each device to ensure there's no vulnerabilities like malware present and that all patches are up to date. And finally, breaches will still happen. Not to worry you, but let's face it, applying new zero trust policies isn't going to completely protect you against breaches from day one or forever, because threats change and the attack surface changes over time too. So even though you're taking the right steps to protect operations by applying zero trust security policies, you should still prepare in advance for disruption to occur at some point on some level of the network. Okay, in this video, we've covered the steps involved in adopting zero trust across your OT and IoT networks. Now check out our other videos for tips on how to put zero trust to work for you. Don't forget to share your own experience with zero trust security in the comment section and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to cover in future videos. Until next time.